Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to be working on lesson 123. Let's go ahead and begin with part 1. Now, touch part 1. Let's see if you remember a meaning for each of those affixes. Touch the letters L-Y. What's one meaning of li? How something happened. Touch the letters D-I-S. What's one meaning of dis? Not, the opposite of, or away from. Touch the letters R-E. What's one meaning of re? Again. Touch the letters A-B-L-E. What's one meaning of able? Able to be. Touch the letters L-E-S-S. What's one meaning of less? Without. Touch the letters U-N. What's one meaning of un? Not. Touch the letters N-E-S-S. What's one meaning of ness? The state of being something. Now let's go ahead and look at part 2. First word. What is the underlined part? What word? Occurred. Next word. What's the underlined part? What word? Procedure. Next word. What is the underlined part? Shun. What word? Solution. Next word. What is the underlined part? What word? Arrange. Next word. What is the underlined part? What word? Resistance. Next word. What is the underlined part? What word? Rejected. Next word. What is the underlined part? What word? Laundry. Next word. What is the underlined part? What word? Replaced. Next word. What is the underlined part? X. What word? Examine. Next word. What is the underlined part? What word? Weather. Next word. What is the underlined part? What word? Consider. Let's go ahead and look at part 3. First word. What word? Bacteria. Next word. What word? Harmful. Next word. What word? Explanation. Next word. What word? Series. Next word. What word? Semawise. Next word. What word? Solve. Next word. What word? Clue. Next word. What word? Insisted. Next word. What word? Concluded. Next word. What word? Dissecting. Next word. What word? Childbirth. Next word. What word? Contact. Next word. What word? Ridiculous. Next word. What word? Patience. Next word. What word? Indicated. Next word. What word? Serious. Next word. What word? Diet. Next word. What word? Infectious. Let's go ahead and look at part 4. We're going to talk about what those words mean. Word number 1. What word? Stale. Now, stale means not fresh. Everybody, what's another way of saying this bread is not fresh? Get ready. This bread is stale. Number 2. What word? Punctured. When you have punctured something, you have poked a hole in it. Everybody, what's another way of saying he poked a hole in the bicycle tire? Get ready. He punctured the bicycle tire. He punctured the bicycle tire. Number 3, what word? Frequently. Something that happens often happens frequently. Everybody, what's another way of saying it often rains here? Get ready. It frequently rains here. Next word. The word is hostility. Hostility is unfriendliness. Everybody, what's another way of saying he showed unfriendliness toward the manager? Get ready. He showed hostility toward the manager. Now let's go ahead and look at part 5. We're going to begin with our story. Please follow along and listen to the questions because some of these questions will appear on your workbook. Semmelweis solves the problem. Now let's go ahead and follow along. Semmelweis tried to figure out what caused the higher death rate in Division 1 of his hospital. He rejected the explanation that fear caused the higher death rate. He considered other explanations. One was that changes in the weather caused the higher death rate. Semmelweis pointed out that the weather was the same for Division 1 and Division 2. Another explanation was that patients were crowded together in Division 1. Semmelweis pointed out that deaths occurred in Division 1, even in areas where patients were not crowded. He also showed that the high rates did not occur in parts of Division 2, where patients were crowded together. Let's listen to question number 1. What were the 3 explanations for the higher death rate in Division 1? So let's go back to the story and find out these 3 explanations. So number 1 was fear. Number 2 was, so number 1 is fear. Number 2 was changes in the weather. And number 3 were the crowded conditions. Where the patients were crowded. Good job. Now, why did Semmelweis rule out weather as an explanation? Semmelweis ruled out weather as an explanation because the weather was the same in both divisions. Good. So let's go ahead and go back to the story and find out where we can go ahead and highlight that part. So the weather was the same for Division 1 and for Division 2. Now let's go ahead and continue. Semmelweis considered a number of other possible explanations and rejected each of them. The bed sheets were equally dirty in Division 1 and Division 2. Semmelweis concluded that the condition of the bed sheets could not cause the difference in the death rates. Poor diet and stale air were also rejected as causes because both were present in both divisions. Then something happened that gave Semmelweis a clue to the cause of the high death rate in Division 1. A doctor who worked in Division 1 was dissecting a dead body when his knife slipped and punctured his finger. Within a few days, he came down with a fever. It was the same kind that killed so many women in the hospital. It was called childbed fever. People had thought that the fever occurred only after childbirth, but the doctor's illness and death proved them wrong. Semmelweis did not know that the doctor had been infected by bacteria that caused childbed fever, which is blood poisoning, but he assumed that something must have entered the doctor's body when he dissected the infected body. Now, what did Semmelweis assume happened to the doctor? Semmelweis assumed that something must have entered the doctor's body when he dissected the infected body. So, Semmelweis assumed that something must have entered the doctor's body when he dissected the infected body. Let's go ahead and continue reading. Please keep following along. Since childbed fever was more serious in Division 1, where doctors and students attended patients, Semmelweis concluded that the disease must be carried by doctors and students, but not by the nurses in Division 2, so he began to examine what the doctors and students did. He found that they frequently dissected the bodies of women who had died of the fever. The nurses did not do this. The doctors and students frequently went directly from an operating room to deliver a baby. Without bothering to wash their hands when they did wash, they used only soap and water. Listen to question number 3. What did the doctors and students do that the nurses did not do? So, the doctors and students dissected the bodies of women who had died of the fever. So let's go ahead and highlight it. He found that they frequently dissected the bodies of women who had died of the fever, and we're talking about the doctors and students. Let's go ahead and continue. Semmelweis took steps to cure this problem, but they were met with a great deal of resistance. First, he insisted that all doctors must wash their hands in a solution that would kill the infectious material on their hands. Next, Semmelweis removed all dirty materials from the patient's room. Each room was cleaned frequently, and bed sheets were replaced when they got dirty. Let's listen to the next question. What did Semmelweis insist that the doctors do? So Semmelweis insisted that the rooms be kept clean and dirty bed sheets be replaced. So each room was cleaned frequently and bed sheets were replaced when they got dirty. Good. Let's continue following along. The changes that Semmelweis introduced caused a great drop in the death rate in Division 1. During the first year, the new procedures were put into operation. The death rate dropped from 1 out of every 10 women to 1 out of 100 women, a drop of 90%. During 2 months of that year, not one woman died in Division 1. Semmelweis should have been treated as a hero. Instead, he was greeted with hostility. Many respected doctors said that his procedures were ridiculous. They felt that he had no right to tell doctors how to wash their hands. Listen to question number 5. Now, what was the reaction of the medical profession to Semmelweis' procedures? So, the reaction to Semmelweis' procedures were hostile. They called Semmelweis' procedures to be ridiculous. So many respected doctors said that Semmelweis' procedures were ridiculous. Semmelweis couldn't stand the constant battles, so he left the hospital. Shortly afterward, he became ill and went to a hospital for an examination. He found out that he had infected his finger during one of his last operations. The infection was blood poisoning childbed fever. Semmelweis died of the very disease he had learned to control. Semmelweis was a great man because he used common sense, facts, and figures. He didn't work out of a cure for blood poisoning. He didn't work out ways to kill bacteria that had entered the wound. But he did a great deal for the field of medicine because he showed cleanliness can prevent the spread of harmful bacteria. The techniques he introduced have been improved over the years, but they follow the same basic principle. Whatever comes in contact with a wound must be clean. Let's go ahead and listen to the last question. What disease did Semmelweis die of? So Semmelweis died of the disease that he had learned to control, which is blood poisoning. So after you're done listening to my recording, make sure you complete the questions. You guys will get your the copy of the lesson and the workbook. Make sure we try our best. We answer the questions to the best of our ability. You have the story where you can go back. Have a great day, boys and girls.